Okay, so my name is Jazmin Rivera. My coach was Dr. Stevens. Um, and I just want to let you guys know my silver leadership experience. So, first off, we have the goals that I worked on, and I'm just going to focus on the top three that I really tried to focus on during this challenge. The first one I have on my PowerPoint slide is taking on more leadership opportunities. And for me, this could range, well, actually, for most people, this can range for a lot of things. This could be taking part in clubs or starting your own organization. For me, in particular, that was taking part in stepping up to the plate for taking on responsibilities in my tea time group. So, tea time is this kind of community place where people are allowed to hang out, kind of talk. It's a very open place, but also, usually it goes around the theme of tea, so the kind that you drink, or sometimes kind of like the drama that you would spill. My second goal that I've worked on was making sure to communicate with others. This for me was making sure that I started talking to my community more. And this was for my professors, my friends, being more open and accepting to myself that it's okay to talk to people about these sort of things, even though they're not always talked about. They should be talked about more often. And my last goal that I'm going to focus on is fixing some of my bad personal habits. One of those in particular was making sure that I was fixing a routine for myself every day, making sure that I got up at a certain time and just improved my kind of at-home lifestyle that I'm dealing with in this kind of unprecedented time, as the news would say. So, on my next slide, have I grown? Height wise, this might be a surprise, but no. But as a leader, I've kind of found myself being a person who works behind the scenes, but always wishes that they were on stage, reciting lines or singing a song. This semester, I really wanted to step up to that. I was tired of kind of taunting myself in a way of like, oh, that could be you. You know what? I told myself, you know what? That is you. That can be you. So I took on more opportunities. Like I took part in tea time, like I said in the previous slide. One that I forgot to mention was I also took part in my residential hall council. I was taking part in those meetings, talking with the other people, and tried to work with some other students on ways to communicate with students that are living off campus currently. That was just a few things that I can remember currently. The next thing that I noticed that I tried to grow upon was, like I said before, practicing asking for help before it was too late. In a way that takes part in communicating with the people around me more, because I am the kind of person who is embarrassed to talk about the fact that I am struggling. It is embarrassing for me because America is that kind of place where you are the self-made man, as they would put it, or you were usually these kind of heroes are people who did it all on their own. Nobody ever talks about the groups of people that help push them. It's always one particular person. But what about the amazing people that convince them, hey, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to come and ask, even if it's once or twice. Make sure you're talking to people, that sort of thing. And I'm trying my best to break that habit of sticking to myself. So that was just one thing that I wanted to improve on as a leader, because as a leader, you don't do things by yourself. And, that kind of works into the last point I have on this slide. I started working with others as a team. And really, that team would be to improve who I am as a student, as a person in general. So I started working with the people in my life, my teachers, my professors, even ones that I'm not currently getting classes with and that I previously had classes with. My next slide is being part of my community. So even though this semester I was working off campus, I was an off-campus student due to COVID, very unprecedented reasons, I wanted to make sure that I was still taking part in the community that is there, because I love it so much. Things like tea time and the RHA, the Residential Hall Council, like I said before, and I even still took part in like the weekly game nights, or I would go to events that interested me, or go to video calls, that's for class, Zoom calls. But either way, I still try to make sure I was a part of that community, even though I am not there. So this is my second to last slide, the importance of motivation. And I think that every important event or movement that has happened in our history was started with a leader that wants to promote positive changes. You have leaders like MLK or Malala. Those people wanted to make positive changes for people, not just for themselves, but people like themselves that they see going through similar things. And they wanted to do that to make sure they had a better life, not just for themselves, but also for others. So in general, without change, the society I live in wouldn't be possible. I wouldn't be able to go to school at all. I am a girl, and I'm also of Hispanic descent, and I am proudly of that. But people like me would not be able to go to school, people of color especially. That's something very important to me. Also, leading positive social change to make things better, not just for yourself, but for others. I did talk about that previously, and that's something I do strongly believe in. And the why that motivates me is to make tomorrow a better place than today, not for myself, but for kids who were like myself. And what I mean by that is, when I was in school, I wasn't the most perfect student. I was always turning things in late. I was always struggling to keep up in class. I have my own emotional issues I'm not going to get into. And truly, I feel like many things can be changed for the future of our society if we start making it normal and okay for many things, not just for mental issues, but also to be different, to struggle in school. Nobody's a perfect student. I myself am still a struggling student, but I want to do better no matter what. And that's the kind of thing that motivates me to want to make a positive change in society in general. And for my last slide, goals for the future. I really wish I could change the world. I wish I could be that one person who is a lot like Martin Luther King or Malala. It just causes a humongous ripple on the world, but you have to start small first. You really do. One thing that I've always wanted to do was go caroling for cans, and basically that would mean I'd go to door, and I would sing a song, not necessarily just Christian songs, but songs that happen around that time of year, and go door to door and ask people for a can of food. And at the end of the day or the week or whenever I do it, send that cans of food to the food bank, so that people that really need it can have it. And it would be a fun experience for me because I love to sing, and I'd still be helping my community and bringing a bit more awareness to it. Another thing that I would like to try is to tutor kids. Well, I already love doing this, or tried to do this. I'm babbling a lot, but I would love to tutor kids to make learning fun. Learning is not always made fun. Usually, well, it's trying to be changed in a sense to be made more fun. But it's a hard thing to do, to make learning fun for kids, because they have such short attention spans. But I want to make it fun for them to where they feel like they're in a completely different world and they're just as amazing as they should always feel. Another thing, and the last thing, is I want to encourage my community at home to make a community garden. And what I find so wonderful about that is that you would get to collaborate and take part with your community, not just because of the food that you'd be growing together, but also you could share with one another. Because I know many times me and my family sometimes will grow tomatoes, and we'll have too much tomatoes and we don't know what to do with them. It's moments like that where I would wish that, I wish we had people to share our produce with. And that kind of place, I feel, would encourage a lot of harmony and kindness, and it would be such a great example to kids today to just work together, no matter what. But in general, I feel that Gold Leadership has reminded me a lot of things that I need to remember when trying to be a leader, like not being afraid to try these new things that I want to do in the future, and not be afraid to speak up or work with others. So as a result of all this, I just hope that I can just continue improving. So thank you. Those were my slides.